I'm an intimacy coach for Christian wives, but let me just be clear. When a client comes to me and says, I've lost interest in intimacy with my husband, my immediate response to them as a solution is not to tell them to have more sex. Absolutely not. My goal is to get them a transformation. Before we dive more into that, I am Legina, also known as Coach LJ, the creator of the Intimacy Tour Guide. And I help Christian wives to amp up intimacy in their marriage inside and outside the bedroom, and also empower them to embrace and communicate their desires without shame and with confidence. So let's get back into this. So when a wife comes to me and says, I've lost interest, I don't want to have sex with my husband, the intimacy is just not there anymore, I want to get to the root, because you can't have a true transformation without getting to the root. And getting to the root sometimes requires peeling back all the layers, trying to determine what's really going on here. Because typically, if she once had the desire and she doesn't, there is a reason why. And so my goal is to help her to figure out the reason why. Once we know the why, then we can work through some solutions to fix it. So the why can vary for many wives. The why could be because it's boring and it's predictable and nothing has changed over the years and they're just kind of tired of it. And for many wives, if this is the case, it's really hard for them to articulate that to their husband. They don't want to hurt his feelings. They don't want him to feel bad. They don't want to feel bad about that. So they keep that to themselves. But because it's not exciting, it's boring, then, they don't want to do it. And who would? Then there are wives who, kind of in the same line, that they have desires to try to do something else and spice it up. And they don't share that because they're just not sure how to communicate that. They have a fear that if they really share what they like, what they want, what they desire, that they may be judged, or they may get rejected, or they may be looked in a certain way. And that can be very scary. You don't want to be that vulnerable when you think that your spouse is not going to be receptive. There are others who are just plain old tired and exhausted from carrying the mental load, from, being the parent that does all this stuff with the kids and working full time, and they're mentally tired, they're physically tired, and they can't think about adding another thing to their to-do list. And sex is not on the to-do list, and if it is, it's at the bottom of the list, okay? They don't want to think about one other thing. And then there are those who, they have this resentment, that they're not happy about things that their husband may have not done that they were supposed to do, or these, unmet expectations. So there's a lot of resentment there. And you don't, you can't really have sexy time if you are resenting the person that you're supposed to be having that time with. So those are just a few. There are other reasons why a wife may not be interested in being physically intimate with their husband. But I say all that to say, if we can't narrow down the reason or the reasons why, there's no way to get to a true transformation. So in my coaching with my clients, it's always going to be, well, let's figure out why. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's figure out, were you excited about being intimate and it changed? And if it changed, when did that change happen? How do we kind of pinpoint what it is when the change happens so we can kind of work to fix that? So I just want to let you know that, coaching with me, it's not going to be, yeah, I know, just have more sex, because that clearly is not the answer. I think people want that to be the answer, but that's not the answer. And if you are having more sex just for the sake of having it and not enjoying that, I don't think anyone wants to do that either. And that is not the way that God intended it or wanted it to be. It's supposed to be mutually pleasing and pleasurable for both people involved. So if you have any questions, you know how to reach me, email me, I'm here.